All right. Okay, it's informed. It's informed that we're live. I have got my sparkling sequence. I don't know if it's picking up like it's putting it down here today. But anyway, well, Happy New Year. We're going to wait for people to get on. I'm going to attempt to share this. This might be interesting. I'm scared to push buttons sometimes to that it like will end it. I think the first time I ever went live, it didn't turn out that great because I didn't know how to do the different buttons. So yeah, we're gonna wait a little bit to see other people getting on. Hello, Happy New Year. I don't know why I'm shouting. It's like I get really excited. Where are you in the world right now? Let's see. I don't know how to say your name, but Shetty, I see is your last name on at least YouTube. Where are y'all in the world right now? And I'm also trying something new where I've turned off the chat. You only can chat if you're a subscriber. So there's also been mistakes made with allowing. India, welcome, man. I forget the time difference with India. I know I'm pretty behind in the day. Um, I'm on Pacific. Hello, Wendy. Like Sacramento, because we're on the same time zone. I do have friends who live in New Zealand, and so they're 19 hours ahead, I believe, so we're only 4 hours difference. So they get the New Year first. I think they're almost one of the first ones to get the New Year, which I've been in New Zealand to ring in the New Year, and it's like you wake up and then it's like happening in other places, so it's pretty cool. Cool, Sacramento, nice, not too far away. I'm up in Oregon. But yeah, so what are some of y'all's plans? We can talk about serious stuff and deep stuff. We can talk about fun stuff. Y'all can ask me questions. Oh, Canada, what part? You could potentially be close, or if you're on the east coast of Canada. Um, Actually, here in Oregon, it just snowed, which there was snow on the ground for like 4 days, which is a miracle for me because I grew up in Texas. And even though last year we did have snow for 4 days, but it was like snowed in, I guess it was the closest I've gotten to that movie. What is it? Oh gosh, I forgot. It's like Dennis Quaid and like Jake Gyllenhaal. Oh, Day After Tomorrow or something like that. I can't remember the name, but that's pretty much what it felt like in my head when we got snowed in. We didn't lose power, but Texas got really messed up. But yeah, what are some of y'all's plans tonight? If you have questions, in my little, I don't know if y'all could see it, but I went really wild with my thumbnail and I put a little hat on me and a little like party blower. I actually was like, blow air at party New Year's, like searching for that graphic. It was like an intelligence test, but um, what are y'all doing tonight? What are y'all's plans today? What are some customs like in the Netherlands, Canada, India? What do you do on the day of the first day, like actual New Year's Day? Like I know in the United States, at least, some of the traditions I know of is like you eat black eyed peas and, um, oh, thank you. Oh, Montreal. Okay, cool. I've been to Montreal last year. I went to Montreal I think it was in the summer. No, that's not true. It was actually in the winter. All right. Sometimes no plans are nice plans. Just chill, especially with everything in the world still a little bit unusual. Not having to drive or go anywhere. Even like sometimes there can just be that piece of just, you know, not having to stress. But yeah, also too, if you do have questions, because I did in the thumbnail, going to the beach, that sounds wonderful. But in the thumbnail, I said, making room for more. That was actually my partner's idea. But I was like, oh, I really like that because I do think that that's one of the key things, and especially what I talk about when I try to share on oh, yes, a cold dive. I love it. It would be very cold here to do in, oh gosh, in the Netherlands, taking a cold plunge. Wow. Those are some chilly temperatures. Is it so cold where like you have to like break the ice to get in? I guess not the beach, but I've seen people do it in like lakes when we did it in Texas, it was like such a joke because like right now it's like 80 degrees Fahrenheit, which like is like summer temperatures. Oh man. Okay, I have a lot of plans with my family and friends. Okay, cool. Happy New Year. Oh, this is so fun. Like for whatever reason, I keep thinking that New Year's Eve is tomorrow. And I forget, like that's why when I first posted about this, I'm like, yeah, see y'all Saturday. And I'm like, oh, that's New Year's Day. Okay. Which wouldn't have been terrible, but yeah, I kind of, if you're gonna have a New Year's Eve party, you should probably have it on New Year's Eve. Oh, okay. I've never been to the Netherlands, so I have no idea about it. But I did do it one year, the first, like January 1st in New Zealand. And even though it's summer there, the water was still really cold. But I'm not really that. My mindset right now, I used to do cold plunges all the time when I was doing sports. Like one of the most intense was I was training in Arizona, but the cold tub was outside and it was like 60 degrees outside and we're in like 48-degree water. That is not fun because there's like no escape. You're like kind of cold and you're wet. And then, we're up to almost our neck in 48-degree water. So I am used to be really good at cold water submersion. And I guess if I practiced, I could be good again, but it's not something I was a huge fan of. It did feel really good afterwards, but yeah. But yeah, so the year for more, because I think that that's, what the topics on the channel and why you're probably coming to it is because, yeah, you want this different experience in life. So how can you do it? And one thing that I've been, some of my, the sessions that I do with people is talking about like essentially building a bigger vessel and like building the space inside, trying to come up with different language and come up with different examples so that you can understand. Because obviously, when you look online, YouTube, there's a lot of different people saying very similar things and the concepts are true, but how can you understand it if you've already watched 100 videos and you like get there saying this thing, but like it's not producing any changes in effect. So, and that's the big thing, right? Cause and effect. What cause, like whatever it is you're wanting right now, whether it be about a relationship, an amount of money, a new job, that's the effect you're wanting, right? The outcome, the result. So starting to look the other way, what is going to be causing that result, that outcome? So one of that is going to be creating the space, creating the vessel, creating the entity, creating the state of being, creating the you that is going to radiate that's going to produce that. So again, reverse engineering it when it came, and I think I've talked about, when I do this, I kind of feel like I'm like a singer, right? When they like touch their ear when they're singing, but it's just because my earbuds are about to fall out. When it came to romantic relationships for me personally, I had to reverse engineer it. Okay, if I want this reflection, right, in my outside world, who am I going to need to be? I have to be that first. So that's a long-winded explanation on why it was the year for more, creating more room. Like how can you do it? But if y'all have any questions, let me know. It can be whatever. It can be about, like I said, a topic. Well, okay, great. I love it, Wendy. That's wonderful. Yeah, the year you're worthy. Guess what? Whatever year you were born was the year you were worthy. And that's like this big fallacy that like, oh, we have to earn our worth or we have to work for it or we have to create this space. Again, I'm going to use I have my little beanie here, but it's like saying, I have to create, like if I have this crystal here, but I can't see it, right? That I have to create it. It's not about creating it. It's just about what's covering it. What illusion, what belief do you have right now that's hiding that from you? That's giving you the illusion that it's not there, that it needs to be created. Because if you knew that you had value and worth and you just needed to uncover it, that would change a lot of it. So you are worthy already. What happened though, most likely, and again, this is me doing assumptions and you know what happens when you assume, but your existence is your proof, Wendy, about your worth. So if you exist, boom, congratulations. I feel like I need my confetti gun. You have proved that you are worthy. But most kids aren't told that you're worthy for who you are, not what you do. And so Gabor Mate talked about this. So we didn't get validated for who we are, and again, no blame to their caregivers, but at the end of the day, that caused an effect thinking, oh, I'm not worthy. Now, really, your emotional environment didn't have what you needed. Again, we're not blaming people. We're not doing anything like that, but it is important to see what was your experience because it produced something in you, a way that you see the world and the way you see yourself. The truth of it is you've always been worthy. You're worthy for who you are. But because you didn't get that message, you started looking through a false mechanism, which so many of us do. I've done. And I'm sure there are ways that I still do it that I need to become aware of. And then I can take my worth back and my power back from that. But as you start to do that, you think, oh, it must be what I do. Oh, I'm a good girl. Oh, I'm a good boy. Oh, I get really good grades. Oh, I'm really good at sports. That's what my thing. I was trying to get my worth from that. So as you start to see, oh my God, I've always been trying to look for the outside to make me feel better. And really, if I just acknowledge it's always been here and what I'm doing is only valuable because of who I am. So it's a very long-winded kickoff into your 2022, Wendy. Okay, so I've been struggling manifesting your SP because you miss them and still after months. So if you can give me more information, Gemini S, about the struggle with it, if you feel comfortable, I can potentially help you, give you a little bit more like tangible stuff to do, or maybe where it's missing. Again, if you have a history of abandonment or rejection or anything like that, it's going to be replayed. And also, too, people who are having issues with money, there's an interesting dynamic of how you got your needs met or didn't get them met as a kid could potentially be replaying with money. And if anyone has any money questions, let me know and I can expand more on that. Okay, I have a question. I have an ultimate dream for my career business, but I'm also working on other project ideas that are indirectly linked or not linked at all. Things that I also want. The in between or that ultimate dream. So I'm confused on what the question is. Like, what? Oh boy, now the questions are coming. Now I'm like pulling double duty. Okay, so for the colors, like, what is your question about it? You have an ultimate dream, but then you have these side projects that aren't necessarily the same. So there's these things, like, I guess there's two different, I guess, avenues of what you're wanting. Is that what you're saying? What is the actual question about that? Okay, so Gemini asks, I can't really get over the things they said when they left and the fact that they left at all. That's where the struggle comes. Okay, yeah, I mean, understandable. You really cared about this person and you love them and you still want that connection. So now, if you're allowing what they said to be how you identify with yourself, if they were really mean because of their own pain, their own hurt, but you're saying, oh, look, somebody I value, look, see, I'm not good enough, or I am unlovable, or look at me, I'm such a like fuck up, basically. I'm not saying that you are, but if that's kind of what they said, you have to realize, oh, I'm giving their power, their opinion more. I'm giving their opinion more power than I have of my own opinion. I'm allowing what they said and how they behave to override my whole worth. And then if you looked at the fact they left, okay, well, let's look again. It's hard without more information, but if you have somebody who did that, where you had a parent who was a bit distant, or maybe they actually left, or maybe they were physically always there, but emotionally always distant and unavailable. If you're still trying to get that connection, you could be potentially replaying it with this other person. And some of the pain, and again, you and this person you're talking about, Gemini S, have your own dynamic. No dispute about it. However, some of the pain that's also getting coded onto it could be coming from the childhood, not the childhood, your childhood. So untangling those and actually going and like addressing those things and seeing where you are can help give you more clarity and relieve some of that suffering, that struggle. Does that help any? Because if not, we can go deeper. We can go deeper. I am not afraid to go deep. Okay. Oh, okay. Wendy, 2021 was the year I discovered I didn't feel worthy. I felt insecure. The SP left the division in friendship and community. All those circumstances woke me up. Yeah. And again, like Wayne Dyer said, I believe it's him. Sorry, I just read your other one. My brain was like, but Wayne Dyer said you don't get what you want, you get who you're being. And, a lot of times people see the universe or God or spirit or whatever as punishing, right? Like, why do these things happen to me? But again, like you said, it woke you up. It helped. It became so painful that you had to really like look at it. I've had a lot of different situations, like for me and being so codependent in my past and being extremely anxiously attached. I got to a situation where that person became physically abusive. Now, this is in the past. However, it made me have to really look at myself because like, whoa, I'm not safe. Okay. I was thinking that no matter I would abandon myself, I would do whatever I had to so the person would be with me. But then I realized, whoa, this is really dangerous. I can't do that anymore. So again, now I'm like, dear universe, can I please always get my lessons on a whisper? And again, that comes with awareness of yourself and what's going on and really being honest. But I think that's beautiful, Wendy, for, obviously probably filled with a lot of uncomfortable, painful situations. However, you got deeper into it and, oh, I'm insecure. If I'm not secure in myself and I'm seeking it in outside circumstances, situations, people, whatever, I'm going to get a reflection of that insecurity. I'm going to get circumstances that show me that, oh, look, there's no security, but I'm going to get a reflection of me not feeling whole and complete. So is it a punishment? No, it's like, in my opinion, it's like the universe is always willing to meet you where you are and wants to help because you're collaborating. However, it's like, what are you sending out? And as you start to adjust that, you'll be able to automatically start seeing, wow, I have more agency and power than I thought. I just didn't realize what level of pain or what age, I was. Like, if you have an abandonment issue from 5 years old, and when you get in romantic situations, you get insecure, you get anxious. This is not for you, Wendy, but anybody. You're going to be probably replaying a lot of those 5-year-old you fears and logic. And that's why it's like, why am I acting like this? Well, because that little girl, that little boy in you is really scared and they're taking over. They're driving the bus. And you being aware of that and basically making a new choice is what this whole thing is about. It's how you get your power back, is becoming aware in the moment. Even neuroplasticity shows that, yeah, the only way to take advantage of your brain's ability to rewire itself is if you become conscious and present in the moment. In the moment. I need like a soundboard. Okay. So Gemini S, basically my SP left me because I had a lot of emotional meltdowns, pushed them away. Sometimes I could be really awful. Yep. Okay. I mean, I say, yeah, because yeah, obviously there's a very hurt part of you. So now I feel like I'm an abusive person because I hurt them. There's an element of forgiving yourself of, there are things I've done and that I do when I'm in a triggered state that it's like, wow. However, if you shame yourself, if you're like, shame and guilt is I feel bad for what happened, and shame is I am bad for what I did. Right. So you say you had emotional meltdowns, that you push them away. Okay, that sounds like somebody who's really scared, who's been really hurt, and who's doing the best they can to keep themselves safe in ways that they had to when they were little. So if you're a little kid and you had a lot of overbearing, like a parent that was overbearing or helicopter or abusive or anything like that, or maybe somebody who went too far away, you're going to have coping mechanisms that you developed to deal with that when you could not leave the house. You could not pack your bags at 5 years old and go try things on your own. So now when you apply them, because they're going to come up in romantic relationships, the old wounds are going to have the ability to be pushed up. That's a good thing. Now, if you respond to them, that's when it's not helpful, right? Because you go another round. However, if you can start just breathing, because you want to regulate and calm your physiology and your nervous system, so you can be aware. Because as you feel more stressed, your awareness is going to go like this. It's going to go up. I can see the room. No, I can't see anything. Well, now I can still see myself everything. So you want to maintain your ability to be aware. So forgiving yourself that you didn't have the tools at the time, and that's the best you had. And as you learn, as you take responsibility, that's when you can also say, wow, I was a really hurt person and I did hurt other people and I'm not bad. I needed love just like I do now. I need to love that part of me. And, maybe have conversations with people that you hurt and talk to them about that and work through it. Because if you stay in that idea that you're abusive, then you're going to be continually keeping those old patterns of probably why you have those meltdowns and why you were pushing them away, because you were afraid of being rejected, afraid that other people didn't want to be around you, whatever. I don't know if that's helping. When I ask, let me know. Let's see. Yes, I still want my SP, but I'm okay and excited about my lesson. I love that. Is it Lila? Big hug. Yes. It's hard when you start to see this and then you have like, wow, you start to see your old behavior or the behavioral patterns, right? Of like, wow, there's a lot of things that I took out on other people because I didn't have the tools. And I can now make changes by being aware in the moment. And even looking back, I don't know why my nose is itching so much right now. Looking back on all the things that have happened to kind of see yourself in a different way. Anything that's scared is going to want to attack to maintain like its sense of safety, right? If there was a little kitten or a little puppy or a little fox, I don't know, some sort of the cutest, loving animal, but it's against the wall in the corner. It doesn't know your intentions. It's going to want to get you away because it doesn't know what it is. If it's already had somebody who was abusive and who they felt hurt, they're going to basically react from that worst case scenario for survival purposes. So just nourishing that part of you needs love, Gemini S. And also, is it Lila? I'm sorry if I'm saying that wrong. The compassion is what you need, that it makes sense on how you got there. You're not bad. You're not wrong. That was a reaction. That was a survival mechanism and strategy that did keep you alive and was successful. And you can upgrade it. And that's going to be a lot of forgiveness and realizing that you're not bad or wrong for what happened. Oh, yeah. I mean, that's what you have to do is like just realize. Also, too, John M. I hope he's on here. I'm not sure if he is, but he commented on one of the videos, basically like, and this kind of reminds me of what you're saying, Gymnast, about like, meltdowns or breakdowns, like the parts of us that just like lose it, right? The emotions just go high, like a little baby. Like, not that we are a baby, but the most basic, right? Like a baby's crying, a baby wants to be fed, a baby needs this and that. We're not like, oh, okay, well, what have you done? Are you smart? Did you do really good at school or did you go help, right? You don't, the baby doesn't have to prove themselves, right? The baby is crying to have a need met and everybody's listening. So us being that adult to that part of ourselves can really, really help, because you can use that voice to listen to where you need to feel more safe. And that's really what it's all about. You probably have emotional big reactions, you, me, everybody, when you don't feel safe, when you feel there's a threat to a connection. So it's going to be like code red and panic back to when you were a little kid, because you were powerless then and you're not powerless anymore. So just starting to become aware of that reality in the present moment. Okay, let's see here. Okay, so I'm getting back to the colorist. Yes, actually, there are different avenues, but in some ways connected. I want to have my own film design studio because I want to create worlds and tell stories. That's awesome. So what is your question still? Like, is your question the colors? What should you do, or should you pick one or the other? I just want to be real clear on that. Okay, so I'm LP. I realized I was telling myself I didn't want my SP anymore, and I wanted someone else because I wanted a new story in order to not feel triggered. I was unknowingly avoiding my healing. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing too, is, it could be the person that you're currently interacting with. It could be a new person, whatever. Your wounds, again, you have a relational trauma, meaning that you had like basically Gabor Mate also, if y'all don't listen to him, I highly recommend you. He's on, Compassionate Inquiry, I think is his thing. If you follow that on Instagram or just even him and YouTube, he has a lot of stuff. He's, for one, like so sweet. But he's a trauma specialist. So he says that anything like you go through an experience and it limits the way that you can engage in the world or engage with the world, that's a trauma, because you're limited, right? Growth is about expansion. So if part of you is locked in, then there's a trauma there, right? It's wounded you and it's kind of distorted or stunted you, distorted the way you see yourself and what's possible, rightly so, because you became afraid, something happened. So if it happened with your early on caregivers and your experiences with that connection, it's going to recreate itself the closer you get to somebody. So romantic relationships, right? And I always do this kind of thing because it's like that person, that situation is giving you like this tension to push up the wound from within. So even if the SP goes away, the SP goes away, LP, um, then it's going to be somebody else in that role. As you start to become invested emotionally more and more, and you value this person, that's probably when these wounds are going to come up. And in a secure relationship, that is when you're able to really work on them. That is my partner. Beautifully allows that space for me to continue to, and also too, these things could come back, but you're not going backwards, you're going deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper. So just giving yourself that space and realizing that's healthy, that's helpful. Now, if you react, if you get triggered and then you zoom, oh, there I go. Why are you doing this? And you blame the other person. Well, and we're putting this person on like a little shelf. We're not saying they're an angel. We're saying we got to see ourselves. We got to have that metacognition of what are our thoughts? What are our feelings? What are we responding to? What perception? Again, it's like looking through the goggles that only see abandonment and only see rejection. Because if you're looking into the situation that way, what are you going to find? You're going to translate things. So you got to be real with yourself of like, oh yeah, I think this person's going to leave. I'm really afraid. Maybe I'm going to push away. Maybe I'm going to say, I don't care about you. Yeah, you were okay. I'm going to go to the next person. Guess what? It's coming from in you. So it'll just keep replaying. And that's a beautiful moment. So it doesn't mean you have to work it out with this person in your life right now, LP. It just means to be aware that if it's coming, especially if you've had a pattern of it, right? If this person, like, for instance, I've talked to different people and it's like, maybe you're really interested and then it's hot and then it's cold and then it's hot and then it's cold, right? Okay, well, where are you with you? What is your pattern with that? Your past? Is it the closer you get, the more you feel they're not interested? Okay. Also, too, we can get that. We can start looking at that to see when you become more preoccupied with their opinion and acceptance of you, you're looking for that outside validation to say you're okay. So it can be codependent, but also, too, it's self-rejection. If you start with self-rejection, you're not going to end in connection. So I hope that helps. And yeah, I'm still wondering the color. Sometimes I have to have it like really, really obvious. Of like, okay, my question is blank, 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 because you have two different things. And I guess, are they competing with each other? Or are you just confused on where to put your energy? What do you got? What is my view on manifesting a specific person from an esoteric perspective? I'm not sure exactly what you mean. I mean, I know what the word esoteric means, and I know different esoteric topics, but I don't know what you mean in regards to that. When it comes to a specific person manifesting that's like most of my journey of watching videos on YouTube was looking to see how I could manifest a specific person. What I realized, and this was me, so I realized that I was wanting something from this person. I viewed them, this is not my current partner at all. Like, this is like in the past. So in the times where it was like a specific person I was trying to bring up, for me, like looking back, it was because I thought this person was XYZ. And if I was with them, then it would make me more important, or it would make me feel worthy, or if I could get their love, because there was this emotional unavailability. So it was like I was trying to win it or work for it or prove myself. And if they accepted me, then, right? So what I was putting out, though, is that I was emotionally unavailable to myself because I wasn't listening to my needs. Because my needs, even in that, if, oh, I need you to love me. Oh, I need to address my relationship with myself. And when I did start creating those things that I was wanting from them, I actually wasn't interested in them anymore, because as I became emotionally available to myself, somebody who was emotionally unavailable is extremely unattractive. Or, not that they're bad or anything. You're just like, oh, I'm actually looking for somebody who can like vibe this way, if that makes sense. So, esoteric, I mean, I don't know if you consider, like, I guess metaphysical isn't necessarily that, but do I believe, I don't know if that's what you're, so my perspective is you have to, it's very, I guess, law of attraction, law of assumption. Like, if you do not have a good relationship with yourself and you're kind of masking like, okay, if I can get this person on board, they mean so much to me, and you become obsessed with them, you, for one, you don't have to look at your own shit, honestly, because you become so preoccupied with them. And two, metaphysically, okay, yeah, metaphysically, I'm sending out, I'm not good enough unless they're specifically with me. And thinking that, Einstein said that you cannot solve uh, the problem you cannot solve the problem. You cannot come up with a solution from the same level of mind, right? And we can even pull in Neville Goddard here of, a level of consciousness. You will not, if you have a problem here and you have this specific person, you will not be able to manifest that from the same level of being that you're currently in. So metaphysically, thoughts and feelings. As you change your thoughts and feelings about yourself, you potentially might not be interested in that because you're only hooked in. And this is not everybody. This was my personal experience. You're hooked in because they're abandoning you. They're not interested in you. And guess what? You're not interested in you. So y'all connect that way, unconsciously, most likely. Okay. Just wondering what I would suggest for tackling intrusive negative thoughts regarding a specific person. I've been affirming I think that's supposed to say, it says SC, but I don't know if that meant SP, but I'm going to assume SP, Kurdic, but if I'm wrong on that, just let me know. Okay. So again, if you're affirming, that, let's see, I'm trying to think of a quick example. If I'm affirming that this glass is full, this glass is full, this glass is full, this glass is full, this glass is, for one, I'm spending a lot of energy trying to make it that this is full. But the thing about it is, it's not about being chosen by this person. It's, do you choose you? Do you do what's best for you? If this person's not giving you respect, not giving you the affection and attention, are you allowing yourself to be in that situation? I'm trying to think, this is not the best example. I'm trying to think on my toes here. So it's more like if you're in a situation with this person, this SP, where you want to feel chosen and you don't feel chosen because you don't feel chosen. And then you're finding them and like, please choose me, please choose me. But you're radiating and you're believing that you're not good enough and you want them to make you feel worthy and chosen. I would put this aside for now. And I would say, okay, well, what are the reasons? What is the evidence I have that I'm not worthy? Where did that originate? Because again, I forget who we were talking about earlier, but again, your worth is always been there. Everyone check your pulse. This is mandatory for everybody in the room to check your pulse right now. Do you have a pulse? Pulse equals worth. Pulse equals worth. Your beating heart, the blood flowing through your body, the thoughts, the energy in your body right now is your worth. Anybody who has ever told you something different, anyone, any situation that contradicts that is too small for you. That is basically paraphrase David White's poem. It's something like very, very, very similar about anyone or anything that doesn't make you feel more alive is too small for you. So if you are finding people in your outside world that affirm, basically agree with you, they resonate that you're not enough because of their own shit, then you have to really look at where are we connecting here? And as you grow that in yourself, you allow the dynamic potential to change. But you getting them to change is saying, I will only feel worthy if they see worth in me. That means metaphysically, I'm always sending out that I'm not worthy. So what am I going to get? A reflection that I'm not worthy. And it's a bullshit idea. Not that you're not bullshit. I had it for most of my life. So it's being aware that you have it, being aware that it's bullshit. Like, okay, if blood going through my body, worth as a human being, a unique soul, that's my proof of worth. Where did I get that I needed to earn it? And again, going back to Gabor Mate, we weren't validated for who we are. We were like, okay, well, it must be what I do. And that's not accurate. And as you look back and realize that, you're like, wow, all this time I've been doing this. If outside says I'm good, then I'm good with me. And it has to be, I'm good with me, and the outside world will reflect that. So I hope that helps. If not, ask me more questions. Okay, when you've been manifesting as pay, if you lose interest at some point, will they still come into your life even after that? Now, I mean, if you're losing interest in them, why would you want them to be there? So you've got to look into what kind of this, what benefit are you getting from their connection or their energy, them being in your life? What are you getting from that? What does it mean about you? Because if you're not interested in them, why would you want them to come back? Because you might have grown out of that, and that, I mean, who knows what happens, right? Life is, if you leave it up and say, I don't know what's possible. Has there been things in your life where you're like, wow, I could have never imagined that it it would have turned out this good? It's beyond my imagination. When you release control and you surrender that, you're co-collaborating. When you work on your inner game, that outside reflection is easy. I'm confused where to put my energy, because normally you would say if you want to have your own film studio, you would move into the direction of film. I would look to see what you feel about it. If you're looking at other people's definitions of what you should do, okay, you've lost yourself. You have your intuition, but you've got to listen, because it's whispers. I would say meditate and just go deep within yourself and say, okay, what does my soul want to do? Maybe it's a scary choice. Maybe it's okay, I want to go this way. It doesn't seem logical, but also too, look at people in your field who you admire and see their path, because it probably wasn't straight. It was probably like this, right? A lot of people creatively, and I mean in the world in general, they start here and then they end up going all over the place. But ultimately, it's where they wanted the feeling. So, what is also the feeling you want um, from your own studio? Um, Again, they can all go together. If you limit that you have to be an interior designer or then a film person, that's your limitations of thinking you have to isolate them. Look at also two people who have, like, for me, it makes no logical sense on what I've done, where I was athletic. I did my athletic life. I did art as a contemporary woodworker. And now I'm doing YouTube. So it's like, for me, that was very hard of like, oh, if people know this other world, then I won't be like credible or something. It's like the more I inhibit my ability to freely express myself, the more I'm going to see that lack of expression and opportunities and situations in my reflection, because I'm snuffing it. I would put your energy, the colorist, in the place that makes you feel alive. Probably it's going to be in scary things, right? Like, what would you have to do to expand your vessel right now that's going to invite more in? How could you move in the world? Um, I'm scrolling back up because Lila, if that, I hope I'm pronouncing that right, but is it still possible to manifest them? I can't, I've lost track to see if is this the one I'm confused. Hang on a second. Okay. Is it still possible to manifest them? Can you expand on that? I've lost what we were talking about. I mean, I do know what, but I want to get really specific. Happy New Year, Jada. So glad you're here. Okay. LP, do people change as we change because they're a reflection of us, or as we change, we align with people who are on the same wavelength? I personally believe a couple different things. It's like yes and yes. So as we change, okay, do people change as we change? Our dynamic changes with ourselves, and so what we previously allowed will not no longer be allowed, and so they'll have to choose to like act like, I'm trying to think of it. As you start to listen to yourself more, as you start to get clear on what makes you feel safe, as you start to get clear on your needs and you're able to start communicating them better, you start telling people, okay, this is, you want to expand my sense of safety. This is, the thing. So they can choose then to involve themselves in that. But also too, maybe, so your relationship and your expression is what's bringing out a different element in them potentially. And also, too, as we're radiating, as we're changing our ways of being, we're going to align with different people who are in that wavelength or way of being, if that makes sense. I believe in free choice, that we're not changing anybody. I feel, I don't, this is like really like tempting to do, but I know I'm like, wee. Anyway, I'm not going to play my sequence right now. Yeah, I don't believe, and the way I was taught and what I know about metaphysics, I don't believe that we change other people. I believe we put ourselves in a place where we can receive what we're being, if that makes sense. Here I go again. I said I wasn't going to play it, and yet I'm playing my sequins. I'm trying to think. There was something else that brought out about changing people. Yeah, I mean, that really comes up because people say, oh, if you affirm and affirm and affirm and affirm about a specific person, then they'll have to come in. And, I believe that if you change how you view yourself and you create the space that you are whole and complete, you will get a reflection of that relationship. And this is where we go back to the specific person. If you're looking for that specific person who's ignoring you or emotionally unavailable or not quite there, and you're not being seen because you feel growing up comfortable unconsciously from not being seen, not being validated, not being given that connection, then it will feel most comfortable in people who will replay that with you. But as you, whoa, as you start changing the relationship with yourself and seeing that value of you, you will start then seeing and valuing different things. So you'll start radiating it out and allowing it, because of co-creation. So sending out to the universe and then having that experience come up, and it's probably going to be different. It might be different than you think. Maybe it's another person. But the whole reason you wanted this person one, is to have the connection that actually person two brings you. So if you can allow yourself, and maybe it is person one, maybe they have that potential. But if you're so stuck on this person and you're starting to, it will no longer resonate. That if this person's emotionally rejecting you because you're emotionally rejecting you, as you start to see yourself as whole and complete, this person, if they're not changing their dynamic, will fade away and be repelled. And somebody else might come along, but they're actually the thing that you were wanting from this person. So you're getting what you wanted if you were open to it coming in the way that you need, not the way you want. But ultimately, it's what you want. But getting past the physical. And I mean, also, too, looking back, it's better than you could have imagined. Okay, so Gymnast, I definitely feel like I want my SP back. I don't think it's because I need them to feel okay about myself. Just not sure if it's even possible to get someone back with just manifesting. It's hard because there's so many unknowns. I don't know about the situation. But I would focus on yourself. And again, I don't know if y'all aren't contacting each other. There's a big blowout and, it's like, don't ever talk to me again or that sort of thing. But the more you go in and say, okay, what is it that I really want from this person? Why is this connection so important? What would it be like to feel safe in a relationship? What would it feel like to have a reliable, consistent connection? Just starting to examine that. Also look and see I'm curious, what was your example of romantic relationships when you were growing up? Because that's really important too. If you had a caregiver, and if you had one for one, you could see that, okay, well, that could have presented a different way you see yourself or see relationships. If you had two caregivers, parents, what was that like? Did you see that they had to sacrifice their wants and needs or anything like that? But yeah, just getting more clear on that. Okay, we have time for this last hangout. A couple more questions if anyone has it. Does that make sense though? On like the more you go in and do inventory of, again, like if I have my hands, or if I have this glass and it's just outside here, you can't see it, right? Your awareness doesn't have it. But if I keep getting reflections of not quite enough or lacking, well, look, it's reflecting the cup and say, this is a belief. Well, the belief is just outside your conscious awareness. But if you see the reflection of an empty cup or a lack of connection or not quite the fill and what you need, it's there because you see the reflection. So even though you might not be present, even though you might not be consciously aware of it, you can use your outside world where you're suffering or where you're getting most pain and reverse engineer it. What would I need to believe to not be able to have what I want? What would I have to believe the way the world works about myself? And also too, looking up at your connection when you're growing up. Was someone looking into you? Like, were they attuning to you? Were caregivers aware and respectful of your experience, or did you have to attune to other people? Did you have to go to their world? Was anyone going to your world? Did you have to kind of give up the parts of you so that you could go connect with your family? Because if so, you might have learned or thought that I can't fully be me and keep a relationship. And that doesn't have to be romantic. That can be friends. That can be whatever. So really start going back and saying, okay, if I have this, I really want this person and they're not in my life right now. Did I feel like I had to, that's how I would suggest to do it. Again, there's parts of you that I don't know because, we could go deep diving and get specifics about it, but that's as much as I can give right now with that limited information. I hope that helps. Is there any more questions? I don't know if anyone's typed it. It's delayed if so, and it's kind of been doing that where it delays and then like a bunch will pop up. So are there any more questions before we wrap up the last hangout of 2021? I'll give a couple moments. Talk amongst yourselves. I always forget to drink my coffee, which is something that like never happens because I love coffee. I really love steamed milk, honestly. Like I love the texture of steamed coffee with steamed milk or like an oat milk latte. It's okay. Here we go. I could manifest a hot cold in someone because my self-concept was bad. Oh, could I manifest a hot cold in someone because my self-concept was bad? It's not bad. It's not wrong. All what we already know right there, bad and good, that doesn't exist. Your self-concept of having limited connections, that's a thing, but it's not a bad thing. However, is it producing something you don't want? Yes, but already looking at that judgment of yourself. Again, these little kind of small things really can show a lot more. Okay, sorry, I went off on a tangent because my self-concept was that, and not that they were a horrible person. Is it possible to then manifest a better relationship if I work on my self-concept? Again, I believe in free will. So if they're hot and cold and you're used to that, somebody's there, somebody's gone, somebody's there, somebody's gone, or you have to work really, really hard, or you have to abandon what you need so you can maintain the connection. Look at the first part of your life. What was it like with your caregivers? And just what I was talking about with Gemini S about, did you feel like, okay, I can't be full me. I have to leave this over here because if I don't maintain this connection, I'm going to get left in the dust. A lot of times that hot cold can be reflecting. And that same relationship could be with money for the people who don't have relationship things, who have money things. If you do have money things, it's like, what was your early on access to your needs getting met? Boom. Is that how money is showing up? So if you have a self-concept that you have to always do the work and it's always about you and it's about you going to that other person's world, and then when you show up and do all this stuff, then they don't give you as much as you need and you kind of get a half full cup. There may or may not be a person that's really wounded who mistreats you. They're also participating in that because of their wounds. So are they a horrible person? I wouldn't say a horrible. I don't know about what they did. Most likely when people do really bad things, or I won't say bad, there I go. When people do things that cause pain in others, it's because they're hurting. And we're not saying, oh, well, that's okay. We're saying, okay, well, if somebody is not open and they're not healed, I've got to have discernment and protect and keep myself safe. So I've got to be able to read, okay, can this person meet my needs? Can this person expand my sense of safety? Am I jeopardizing my safety to interact with this person? Because I abandon myself if I allow this person who I know can hurt me to hurt me. And that you don't deserve that, by the way. I'm not saying, oh, well, you should have known better. Fuck that, really. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying if this person is treating you poorly and you continually try to work hard, or you continually say, oh, okay, I'll go over there and I'll maintain it, because if I don't, then it's gone. And if it's gone, then what? And fill in that blank, LP. So I'm like still going on. I'm like, whew, getting heated over here. Whew, getting heated. I'm glad. But I mean, as you change that, sometimes that can be people can grow up with you, or they might be repelled, and you will get that connection you're ultimately wanting as you have that connection with yourself. Again, no matter what is happening in your life right now, the experiences that you're having, you want to stay safe and you want to have a connection, you want to just feel safe, whether it be about money or about relationships or something like that. So start looking at how can you start expanding that sense of safety? Because if you do, that can start creating that bigger vessel for more. How do I get over the feeling that I have to do something to make something I want? Um, IG. That's kind of funny. How do I get rid of the feeling that I have to do something to make something I want? Can you expand a little bit more? Because I'm taking the question to be, how do I get rid of the feeling that I have to work to get? Is that what you're asking? Star Wolf. I wanted to put a T in there to say Star Wolf, but it doesn't have a T. And that's wonderful and lovely, Star Wolf. Is that what you're asking? That how can you get out of the loop that you have to do to get? Because that's transactional, right? I only get a connection if I'm a good boy, or if I'm a good girl. I only get, okay, well, you have to understand that, okay, maybe that was your dynamic when you were growing up. You have to look at the person, like if look at what you're trying to get. Okay. How would that make you feel? So getting what you're wanting, receiving what you're wanting, having that experience in your outside world isn't about not doing anything. It's about being in alignment, thoughts and feelings and actions. That's your personality. So if you're in one personality where it's like, okay, well, I should just sit here and get the things. Well, you're not actually in the state of being of the one who gets the thing, if that makes sense. So part of that sometimes can be doing and actions because it's a natural expression of your thoughts and feelings. I hope that makes. Hey, Joe. I remember you from last time. Sometimes I'm like really good with the names, and other times I'm like, what? Happy New Year. Yeah, and thank you all so much for one, for being on this live today, for two, for all your support. It's like, it's so beautiful. It's helped me to grow so much, to learn more, to like really tap deep inside myself. One thing I want to do in 2022 is share more of my personal stories. I get so wrapped up in like the thing that I forget to explain and expand on how it worked through my life. And I think that might help y'all relate to it different or see it differently, having those like more tangible examples. But yeah, thank y'all so much. I love y'all all, honestly. Like, I honestly want all of y'all to have exactly what you want. And I know you can do it, like you being here, putting in the work, putting in that effort, having that curiosity. It's not as far away as it feels like, and that may or may not be relevant to you, but I know sometimes it felt so far away. And I hope that through a lot of my really painful experiences, which maybe I'll get more into it, let's just get painful in 2022 so that not y'all, my old stories, so that y'all can learn and use the painful things in my life to bring wisdom to yours, would be my ultimate 2022 wish. But yeah. Oh, thank you. Yeah, I hope all the best for y'all in 2022. I'm not going anywhere. I'm going to do my best I want to do videos that are a little bit more visually interesting. I mean, who doesn't love the whiteboard, but just better like visual examples because I'm very, very visual. So, yeah, I think it'll be really fun I have a couple ideas already. So, um, but yeah, okay. Well, I love a second. But okay, well, I think that that's it for our last hangout session. We're only moments away. I think right now, okay, I'm 12 hours and 7 minutes from 2022. I'm guessing y'all are that or even less time. But I wish y'all abundance. I wish y'all to see how beautiful, expansive, and powerful you all are. And as you realize that, that is the secret to receiving it. Because as you realize, oh my God, I'm not just a small cup here. I'm like an infinite vessel to receive. You'll actually be able to perceive to receive. You have to perceive to receive. And how do you perceive? You just start realizing, oh, there's John M. I talked about you earlier. The man, the myth, the legend. John, I talked about you using the baby example about how like you wouldn't judge the baby to be like, who do you think you are? You'd be like, I'm gonna give this baby what it needs because it deserves it. Oh my gosh, y'all are super close. I'm so excited for y'all. Tell me all about the new year when you get there. You do deserve financial abundance. And yeah, expect it. Because if you, and again, Dr. Joe does a lot of these meditations where you tap into it, you essentially let go and you go. And John, you had asked about this, and I'm still like coming up with how to best address it. But like when, Dr. Joe talks about being nameless and faceless, and Neville Goddard also talks about this, but you zoom past and you detach from your current identity and you experience this thing because there's no reasons you shouldn't. You have the ability. And then when you come into it and you have those elevated emotions in alignment with it, then you essentially open yourself up to receive. So when it's, John, when you asked about like, that space, it's zooming out and like letting go so you can tap into it. And then when you come back and you have that elevated emotion, you've already experienced it in space beyond yourself. That's when you can really start using metaphysics or, that sort of thing, law of attraction, law of assumption to your ultimate power. So yeah, I love y'all very much. Happy 2022. I'm excited to see what we'll uncover and what we'll learn all together in 2022. And yeah, I hope it's wonderful. I hope you get a good night's sleep. I hope you laugh a lot. I hope you eat some good, tasty things. I love snacks. I hope you wake up tomorrow morning on the day of 22 and realize, wow, I've been worth it all this time. How funny to think that I could limit my worth. I could never limit my worth. It's never compromised. My idea that it was compromised was the only thing holding me back. So when I let go of that idea, what's always been there will always be there. You just are aware of it, and then you can see how beautiful you are. So y'all are beautiful. I love you. Happy 2022. See you next year.